Let's begin with the Inquirer newspaper that says, Banner headlines, I was not looking for the presidency, says Juseni Mabaika. President Juseni Mabaika says he was not looking for the presidency, but rather for leadership that comes from the commitment to serve Liberia, stating that his journey has always been guided by faith and a sense of duty to the Liberian nation. Speaking over the weekend at the Covenant Outreach Ministries in Monrovia, President Joseph Mabaika emphasized that the leadership is more than a title. It is about taking responsibility for the nation's progress. World Bank commits $80 million to Liberia's health security. The World Bank country manager, Wallen, has committed $80 million to bolster Liberia's ability to prevent, detect, and respond to public health emergencies. She made the disclosure yesterday, November 10, 2025, during the launching of Liberia Health Security Program in Western and Central Africa at the Boulevard Palace Hotel in Monrovia. Mountain cloud, mountain alarms over arrest exclusive from the year 2026 budget says anti-corruption fight is global. The chairperson of the Asset Recovery Task Force arrest every Mountain claims that the draft national budget is incomplete and fails to adequately support the vital operation of his unit. Speaking on OKFM Money Rush program on Monday, November 10, 2025, Councilor Martin emphasized the necessity for immediate revision to ensure the task force can effectively fulfill its mandate of reclaiming stolen assets. The back page of Inquirer newspaper says James E. Marshall United Methodist Church reopening sparks tension, but several church members of the James E. Marshall United Methodist Church were involved in a serious fist fight over the weekend after the leadership of the church attempted to reopen the edifice, thus defying Ghana's magisterial court's order. The situation which also witnessed the arrest of 5 individuals followed the recent court ruling that mandated the church to be accessible to all its members. Glingan there, Glingan there Institute recognizes Ambassador Lomia Bishop Zawi. 2 distinguished Liberians were proud recipients of certificates after successfully participating in the ECOWAS high-level program and experience sharing on strengthening the mediation capacity of ECOWAS. The Ambassador Robert Lomian and Bishop Nathaniel Zawe were highly honored at the 10th edition of the Glengedel Training Institute in The Hague, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, which ran from October 27 to 31st, 2025. The editorial of Philippi's newspaper is captioned, "Now the arrest effort is laudable, provide resources." Our last paper is the front page newspaper, banner headlines. Esteemed on the justice system, Judge Fega blasts Justice Ministry over prison crisis, called for urgent return to the biblical foundation. Stephen Chowing Nambwe United Methodist Church rejects purported charge conference, terms the action as illegal and unbiblical. Illegal arrest and incarceration. MDMC condemns reckless and unprovoked attack on the CEO by Asset Recovery Task Force countered lawsuit. Filabondo's allies reject corruption, money laundering charges, brand indictment. Political vision, that's the topic. And Sekou Kalasco Damaro said, and I quote, the Asset Recovery called the legal agreement illegal. So if it was an illegal deal between Anita Group of Company and the Ministry of Defense, why they say that the ministry who signed the deal on behalf of the Defense Ministry is not part of the indictment? Is it because he serves as a special military advisor to President Hussein Mabwaka? Pure witch hunt. and selective justice. This government through the business registry office provided Anita Group of Companies 2024-2025 certificate of business registration. If this entity is illegal, why keep them being registered under your administration? SECO. That makes it said that United States $95 million gap in 2025 approved budget without recast raises alarm as finance minister accused of what? Budget manipulation. Representative P. Mike Jure, District Number 1, Maryland County Chairman, House Committee on Ways and Means and Finance and Budget says, and I quote, there was no recast of the 2025 budget. Where was it held? When? If you have any doubt, you have to ask the Ministry of Ministry of Finance, because I cannot speak for the ministry. They presented their report with the numbers, and so they must answer for that. But as far as I am concerned, there was no recast. The back page of front page newspaper says, post windfall on budget miracle. Government proposes over $1 million United States dollars for national football amid history of broken records. The editorial is captioned, when governance becomes politics, the unnecessary controversy over the Banga Bridge project. My choice of the editorial will come from this. Let's look at how the dry season is here. Expectation is very high. What are we up to?
You know, Timas, thanks for having me again here. Expectation will always be there. And for me personally, I believe we owe the Liberians so much as a government and as a people. There's been a lot of delay in some of the development that we should have undertaken over many years. And I believe as we go through what we're going through as a country, as popular officials, our appetite for work should be very enthusiastic, very urgently done. Let me say it that way. We should put some urgency to the work that we have to do because we are lacking behind as a country. If you look in the sub-region, you see that Liberia needs a lot to be done. And I one of those who think that we must create some urgency to our work. So yeah, there's a lot to be done. And I'm sure when we took over, of course, February will make me 2 years in the position as Minister of Public Works. We did not meet the country in the situation that was excellent, though striving a lot, especially in the rural sector. But we made a lot of devastation, and I felt we needed to change some of the story. And one of the stories that we changed when I sat with the president was that we are aware that there's rainy season every year. We are aware that there's dry season. So why don't we work during the dry season or rainy season can be able to deal with some of the situation? Because again, we have about a little over 13,000 kilometers of roads and not more than 1,005 paved, just about 1,200-1,300 paved. And most of our primary corridors do not pave. So it makes sense that we have to be able to maintain the dirt road. And I hear people make mockery about, we're maintaining the dirt road and people are happy about it. Yes, people should be happy because over the last 20 years, there have been serious situations. I mean, people got accustomed to it. Where during the rainy season, you go anywhere, especially the southeast and the northwestern Liberia. Of course, up to central Liberia, you could. But along the southeast, the coast going up to Maryland, all of those places, going to Lofi, going to Bapolo, northwest, it become almost impossible during the rain. And people just believe that rainy season don't bother to go to these places until the dry season. We felt that story had to be changed. And when I sat with the president, he said to me, Roland, can we do this? And I said, yes, we can do it. And so we designed what we call the 100 days delay. Of course, when we started with that, there was a lot of controversy about it. There's this belief that everybody that comes to government is supposed to be rogue, and all they do is to come and just steal. So nobody believes, when there are people who try to be sincere in government, it's difficult to do so, but the work speaks for that. And I decided to focus on my work. I was grilled everywhere. To the legislature, there was controversy, there were all kinds of allegations everywhere. That 22 million was disbursed to me as the Minister of Public Works. I had it right in my safe at the office. I was just dishing it out to people, which was not the story. Even to date, we have not used up to 15 million in the maintenance on this corridor yet. Yes, the contracts were for that amount. But it is over time as you work, and we have maintenance contract for 2 years. Some of the contract ends next year, March 2026, because it was in March 2024 we signed this contract. So by next year, March, we'll be doing some renewal now, or we even have in the contract still get money for maintenance to run us through the dry season for the next rainy season.
So how much you exhausted?
That's what I'm saying. It won't be more than 15 million. Anywhere around just about that 50, 60 million dollars out of the amount. But we've been doing a lot of work. And I can say, and you all know that during the last rainy season, we did not experience a situation where people couldn't access their counties. What did that do? That impacted prices, the prices for basic commodity in the southeast, in the northwestern part of Liberia, parts of the coastal line to Sound Greenville, all those places in Riverside. It's very minimal. I mean, people were full now in a way that we're looking to do. And for me, this is what it is. Our work should be able to impact the lives of our people. So that's what we're doing.
So let's look at that. You started vigorously meeting the challenge as it is. You started with the 100 days, which we thought was not easily achievable, which would not have been easily achievable, knowing the sort of condition our roads have always been during the season. Those major corridors, I don't expect you to get any success story now, because in your own words, in your own classification and categorization of the condition of the roads, they are pliable now. If we're to look at those corridors as you have compartmentalized them, where are we now? Now the rain is gone, and we in the dry season, which is gonna last little, not gonna last too long. They said whether it's climate change. Our dry seasons are sort of a short now than they were before. Which of these major corridors will you tackle?
So let me say this: we're still going to tackle all the corridors. And let me run through that quickly. We're still going to do work on the Broadway to Bobolo corridor, which is still pliable. Of course, there are some conditioning rehabilitation that will be done to resurface the road to make sure it's pliable. Continuously doing the next season. So there's some maintenance work that will be done in the corridor. We're also going to do maintenance work from Salaye up to Bunchima, from Bunchima up to Fuga and Kuma. There will be maintenance work on that corridor. We're also going to continue maintenance work on the corridor from Fishtown, Zoeji to Fishtown. We're going to do Broadway Bopolu. We're also going to be able to do maintenance on the corridors from Buchanan to Greenville to that section. We're going to be able to do that. So all of the corridors, about 786 kilometers, we're still going to intervene on them. But let me tell you the story about what's going to happen on some of the corridors. For example, the corridor between, of course, from Ganta to Saclay and Saclay to Tapeta has been paved. So we're already in Tapeta with pavement. We're trying to close the gap between Ganta and Saclay. So that means in the next year and a half or so, you'll be driving from Monrovia straight to Tapeta on paved road. By the dry season, we've already done the contracting. The contractor is ready to proceed with pavement from Tapeta to Toasttown, which is 40 kilometers. We could start that before the rain comes. So that means from Toasttown to Zoeji, which is 85 kilometers, we've already in the procurement process. It should be completed very soon. Hopefully, before the rain comes, there will be mobilization on that corridor for pavement. So I can say to you, in terms of maintenance work, we'll do little maintenance work between Ganta and Zoeji, because we already have contractors that will begin to pave the road. That is to asphalt the road and now seal it forever. Let me say it that way. So the same way you drive from here, from Monrovia to Ganta, where everybody likes to go almost weekends and 2 hours, 30 minutes, you're in Ganta, you will be going up to Zoeji very soon, which will just take you not more than 5 hours you're in Zoeji. That will happen very soon. So we're going to close that gap by pavement. Now, it's not Derry Road, any road. And then it's pavement, it's asphalt, is what we call in our PG English quota, as we grew up learning it. Then from Zoeji to Kanwiken, from Zoeji to Kellybo Kanwiken, there's a gap between there. From Maryland all the way to Kellybo Kanwiken is paved. It's paved already. It's 170 kilometers that's paved. See, Master, I don't know when last you went to Grand Crew.
I wasn't ground there,
so
I wasn't ground.
Did you fly through that corridor?
I always fly.
Okay, you always fly. Please drive.
I used to.
Please drive.
I want you to put a timeline
so
the route from Tapeta to Zoeji.
The 40 kilometer Tapeta to Zoeji, that can be done in just about 2 years. Within 2 years, so if we start by dry season this year,
Do we have
hopefully
funding
next year,
for it?
yes, 100%. Funded by the World Bank, and so that will be done in 2 years. And that is why I'm saying even between Zerju to Kilibo Karakin, which is 100 and just 100, 806 kilometers, we have the funding for that already. We're in the procurement process. The 61.5 kilometer, we'll soon get a contractor to start to pave the road. We go into the process for 48. So safely, we have funding to pave the entire corridor up to Fishtown. So by 2029, 2030 latest, you will drive from Monrovia up to Maryland on paved road. Now, of course, maintenance will continue on some of the corridors that are not paved. From Plebo to Barclayville, it's 75 kilometer. We don't have funding yet for that. We have a non-binding MOU with a company that's looking to do feasibility studies on that corridor. Hopefully it's done, then we can try to source the resources for that. So we'll continue maintenance on that corridor. During the dry season, we'll maintain the 75 kilometers so that if Tima wants to go to Grand Crew from Plebo, he can drive on a better road to continue to go to Grand Crew. From Grand Crew coming towards Greenville, we're in a procurement process currently for the pavement from Barclayville. So you're going to see some asphalt, some quota in Barclayville. 50 kilometers from Barclayville to Sastown, to where is from, his hometown. And then from that junction, Nokia Junction, Sastown, again to further down to what we call Conyan. It's about 96 kilometers, but we're doing the first 50 kilometers towards Greenville. This is part of what we call the Coastal Highway Corridor. So that section will be paved. From there, coming further down to Greenville, we are doing some maintenance work between those corridors so that we keep Buchanan connected to Greenville and Greenville connected to Greenville. Currently, there will be maintenance work taking place. We have the contractors that are mobilizing. And luckily for us, I will say this, we've begun to work with some Liberian companies that have demonstrated the capacity to work. And I said that we are not going to go far or give gravel road maintenance to any foreign company. No, we had that happening during the last year because it was emergency work. We're going to now, especially for new contract, all new contracts for maintenance work on dirt road will be exclusively Liberian, traditional Liberian oil company. We have to build the industry in a way that Liberians can begin to participate and contribute to that, and even elevate them to a level where they start to participate in major pavement. So that will happen. Now, quickly, if we coming from Buchanan all the way to Greenville, yes, we are doing the feasibility studies now. We funded that on our budget for with the thought that the African Development Bank has committed to finance from Buchanan to Cester Junction, and I pushed into Cester City to pave that. So it's a part of the Coastal Highway. Once we finish that studies and they go to the next enrichment, next board meeting, there could be funding to begin looking at paving that road down from Buchanan all the way to Cester Junction into Cester City. We're looking at that. And we're having conversations with some of our other donors like the EU to look at now from Cester Junction all the way to Greenville in between there to be able to complete that. So in terms of that corridor, we talk about the Coastal Highway. We're making serious progress on that, and that is going to happen. So quickly, I will just end on this quickly so that we proceed with other questions that you may have. But on the main corridor, from Salaye to Wanjima, we're finishing the project, the 81 kilometer. We should be finishing that. Hopefully, the president will dedicate that, hopefully before his annual message, up to Salaye. From Salaye to Wanjima, we got commitment already from the Arab Consortium that we put together initially to fund that project. They've come back. That's Badia, that's the Kuwaitis, that OPEC, and that's Abu Dhabi, and also the Saudis. They are back on the table talking to us and have agreed to finance the 115 kilometers up to Wanjima. So with that corridor, I can say to you the first 50 kilometers for Salaye to Wanjima, we'll be getting commitment. We just got a 12.5 million commitment from the Kuwaitis, the other commitment coming. So we have a team that's going to be in town to start to now do an appraisal on the project. So we'll start paving from Salaye up to Konya. So we're making progress on these major corridors, let me say that. And I will talk about one of the other main corridors that I thought we need to talk about specifically because there's a concession on that. Okay, but that's where we are on the 100-day corridors. Okay, and I said the ones we're paving, okay, the ones we're not paving, we're going to do maintenance on those corridors.
The program is being simulcast by Joy FM, Prime FM, OK FM, Punch FM, and LBS. We just been joined by my friend and brother Julius Jared from OK FM. I want us to take this big by big because there's a lot to be done, and I don't want to politicize that. the sort of work you got to do in the term of defending Mabaka first. How many years you got to do this one? At the time you get to the end of that, might be the end of the first term.
And,
Whether
it will be election time.
it will be the election time. So I want to take it this way. And so let's start from where we are. Let's start from Monrovia where we are. What work should do in Monrovia? Because we know that about what has been talked about most of the time. Probably is this role from Gilbert Tucker Bridge to Freeport, and from Freeport with the MTMC to
Bravia.
yeah, Bravia. They
Yeah.
call it how do you call that bridge?
St. Paul Bridge.
St. Paul Bridge. Give us an update on
So
from the roads in Monserrate.
in Monserrate, there'll be a lot of work in Monserrate. If you go out there now, you see that we're doing a lot of intervention in terms of potholes repairs. Within Central Monrovia, we're doing that. If you go on the Busa Quarter, you go Depot Street, you see that there's work being done. Even Brush, everywhere you see potholes, we're going to intervene within Monrovia and its environment. We're also doing that on the Duper Road, on the so cleaning road. We're working on so cleaning road now. We're gonna finish that road during this dry season. We also Nizo pack up in road SKD Boulevard. We go down to SKD Boulevard and the 72nd Julie. It may not start this year. It will start next year based on the completion of that process. So they're gonna be doing a whole new road from Gilbert Tucker Bridge to Freeport, which is 1.9 kilometers. Brand new road. They're gonna be doing that. So with that, there'll be other roads we're doing. Let me say quickly, the Broadway, Jackson Road, we're doing that. New Jersey Estate Road, we'll be doing that. We're doing region pavement, we're paving that. The View Road is being paved currently. We're also doing the Lightning Road that is somewhere there somewhere there on the Arafi Highway. We're also going to be doing the Chiquita Factory Road. Hopefully, we're going to start that as pavement. We're going to do the Memastown Road. It's going to be pavement. So within Monrovia and its environment, there'll be a lot of work that we do this dry season. You see that, a whole list of that. We also have what you call the Secret Project. That is the community, road intervention project. That is to improve the roads within the community. We've been doing some color installation and then at least making a road pliable. The ones that we can pave. We started that dry season. We're waiting for the rain. We're gonna do that this dry season. You see, intervening in all the community to do so. So there's several work that will be done. The other thing that we're gonna do, happening already, is a project from Freeport to St. Beach, which is done by MPNC. Those are contracts that we inherited. We inherited several contracts for MPNC.
So you inherited that
yes.
you didn't award that to
No, there's the conversation that
Okay.
everywhere, but that's okay. That's part of that. So we inherited this contract from the last government, from Freeport to Simba Beach. It did not start. Funding was awarded. Funding was disbursed, but it never got started. And that place was terrible too much. You know that. You live back there. You saw it. When we came, we sat on the table with him and said to him, you have to restart the project because you already disbursed almost $4 million. And he said, well, there were requests for a redesign of the project. So he was waiting for that, but then the election came and another governor said, well, if it has to be redesigned, we'll do it, but get started. And you can see today the effort that we put into that project. Not just that project. There was also the Johnson Lee Turning Point to Mount Bagley. It was a project that he had. We inherited that project. It was already signed. He was paid. He was doing some work on that road. Also from Johnson Lee Turning Point to White Plains, it was a project that he had that he was already doing some work. We inherited. So we inherited about 4 or 5 projects that he had. And for me personally,
so what is your push on those projects that
but we will continue. That is why you see now the Mount Bagley Road is finished. You can drive on the Mount Bagley Road all the way to the intersection turn to go to Kakata. It's done. It's complete. We got on him to work on the Freeport to St. Paul Bridge. You see where we are on the first layer, new drainage system redesign. We are as far as Lokitan Junction. But this dry season, everything gets started. We ask for you gotta wait for the rain to really settle down. It's still raining a little bit. Once we get started, we're hoping that we can get to if not St. Paul Bridge, at least get to Coward Junction. But one of the things that will happen, that road will be the same way looking for Freeport straight to St. Paul Bridge. 4 lanes, dual lane carriage.
What are you gonna do with that Bowman Bridge? Were you gonna break it up?
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to find a way to work within that space. The space may not be as what is required for a dual lane, because to break that, you gotta build a brand new overhead bridge, which is gonna cost more than the project. but the space there is manageable. We'll find a way to deal with that. You can design the road in that way and stay and go through that. But in the Douala market corridor, we're going to build walls. We're going to separate the market. There's a length of wall that will be on both sides, and we're going to have overhead crosswalk. So that means nobody would use the road to cross. You have to go overhead. You can even use a wheelbarrow. There will be a ramp and there will be a stairs built. You've seen that in other countries, overhead crosswalk within the market limit, so that we avoid the kind of traffic and people selling on the street. That will not happen. There'll be no space for you to be able to sell on the street within the Douala corridor, and that takes us all the way to Simple Bridge. So for Simple Bridge now, then we're talking about the Pevifort project. And this project, I know there are a lot to talk about it, and I thought to just leave it to the end of the project because there'll be the end of the conversation. There'll be a lot of questions about it. We're at the legislature. We've submitted that to the legislature. I just want to talk about some of the other things that we're doing.
Yeah, just before you talk about that, Minister, I mean, since you're talking about the MDNC, I don't know what's your opinion on the asset recovery telling you the government to stop all contract with the MDNC. And how much do you spend on maintenance, for example? What's the highest amount?
Well, again, let me say on the issue of the maintenance cost, under the road fund, whatever we generate, 40% is spent on rehabilitation, that is new construction, 60% on maintenance. So the road fund lies a projected of $42 million. So 60% of that is on maintenance. That's how the
Across
program
the country.
is structured. Yes, across the country. So the program is structured like that. We can't do anything about it. We have to spend 60% on maintenance. That's how it is. So if you do
Why you spend more
60%
on maintenance and you don't spend less on
so
that's the
brand
point.
new?
so because when the road fund was being set up, what happened was that the intent was to do maintenance. The partners worked with us. I was deputy minister by then. I felt we're building all these new roads. We begin to put our money into roads. But the government does not have a structured program for maintenance. We need the road fund to serve that. And so we did the concept. It was established 100% maintenance. But we realized majority of the roads were not in maintenance stage. But you have to rehabilitate before you maintain. Most of the roads were terrible. Reconstruct before you maintain. So we realized that if you generate all that money and sit in maintenance, it's a waste. So a percentage of that should be used to help to reconstruct and rehabilitate, and then 60% for maintenance, because the argument will move on maintenance. So put 60% into maintenance, which is okay. And so that's why it is. You asked the question about MTMC. But again, we can, as recommendation from the head of the asset recovery team, is a recommendation. Contracts are contracts. So to
What's your appraisal
to
of
deviate
their
from
performance?
contracts that you sign already, of course, in the contract there is a clause that will say how contracts are terminated, and if the next party is not certified, they
But when you made the contract,
Appraise their performance.
when you made the contract, it was legally done.
yes, no,
It was
the contracts are legal contracts.
Okay.
So that's not
But appraise their
but
performance.
no, in terms of MDMC performance as a Liberian company, let me see that way as a Liberian company. MDMC is the only company now, Liberian company, that has good capacity in terms of pavement. You see the road they're paving. There are a few Liberian companies that have capacity to pave asphalt, but MDMC is the number one right now in terms of asphalt pavement, 100% Liberian company. And I think they demonstrated capacity. Look, like I said, I met them with contracts and I pushed them because I'm the person who don't joke with the work that I do. And they demonstrated that. They rolled from Freeport to Simple Bridge that you see today. It's MTS that did that. They did some work at the Balanceway Junction, some maintenance work there, and the intersection Dixie. They did that. They completed the Mount Barclay Road. And I'm talking about asphalt pavement.
Okay.
So you'll be advising against cancellation of the contract.
Well, I don't know what it has got into that level. It's just a conversation from the head of the
because this was something different. This is a recommendation that came from a different contract with Foreign Affairs in terms of rehabilitation of that building. And then
So it was not part of the road construction.
No, it wasn't.
It's from Ministry of Foreign Affairs that
That the recommendation is coming out that all other contracts that they have with government should be looked at.
Well, okay. Well, again, that is not my decision. It has to be like a cabinet decision.
Okay.
The Minister of Public can decide.
But that will not stop anywhere for MDMC to continue to do what they do.
Until then,
No, of course. They have a legal contract.
No, so let me bring in some two roads that sometimes I pass around, and there is a road, Jacob Town, St. Francis area, right near where the supermarket and somewhere else. There's a road that goes down almost to Peace Island. So it's really terrible. I don't know
what
it
the
is.
name of that road?
It should be Jacob St. Francis Road. It goes like
Jacob St. Francis Road.
there is
It goes inward or
there,
what?
there is where they have the Catholic school.
St. Francis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
St. Francis.
Yeah,
of
that's the St.
course.
Francis
We
Road.
have again. Look, right now our portfolio is what we inherited plus what we have now is about 80 something billion, just alone on contracts. Of course, there is a projection for a budget that's going to look at like 100 million, but it's not just all for works to run the ministry and also. And besides that, there may be new work. So yes, we have what you call the community gravel road intervention project, which is taking place. So all of those communities will be dealt with. And besides that, for good news, let me also say that the equipment will be coming to the country. The yellow machines, the wonderful yellow machines, will be coming to the country.
For which we were in China.
It's a success dependent on the
But I'm just saying, because right now we have some equipment that we're using in country. In fact, I did a pilot project. There's one cell equipment now in the southeast. It worked in Maryland, it worked in Grand Crew, it's working now in River G, and it's still working in Nimba. Just one cell equipment. And excellent job with them working with the local authorities and the lawmakers. Excellent work. So I know the capacity of having equipment. When we have a lot of equipment, we will be able to do much more intervention. And it may not be paved road 100%, but just making the road pliable so that people can have access to the community will be something that we look at. I was looking at that road as a road that we pave now. But if the budget can give us the space to do so,
because it's really
it's
St.
fine.
Francis Road.
We will
The
definitely do
the
that.
Morris's farm
Exactly.
that comes from Park Opinion and goes all the way.
If the space is available, we'll do that. If the budget is available to do so, we'll do that. But in terms of intervention, we intervene on that corridor.
Minister, you live on a highway, I guess. You pass before reaching the SD Copper Road Junction.
Yeah.
That corridor. That place is bad.
Yes,
Oh,
so
yes.
that's what I said. We have work right now. There's a contractor that's supposed to do to cut that whole place and redo it. We've been waiting for the rain season. There will be works all around. It's happening now at SKD Boulevard. The same contractor that work at SKD Boulevard doing the work now at the intersection, they will come to that intersection and remove that and do deal. So they started doing some work before the rain came, so they had to stop because asphalt is you can deal with that during the rain season.
Let me just bring in this. It's because it is all over the country and it's important since we have you here to ask you all the key questions. What is this issue with CMC wanting to do certain public works? And then you say, don't leave it. The government will do it. Is that the case?
To run the country. There are a lot of houses. Maybe that's the reason for why, as a country, we continue to struggle with all the resources that we have, everything that we have, small population, organize ourselves in the way that we maximize the benefit of our resources. So even in the way we run, they want to build their own bridge. The Bishop of Popular West is responsible for that. And that's why I wrote a letter, and just started, I wrote a letter to the legislature. The speaker has a letter to say that when lawmakers, anybody, for example, want to do anything of such, you have to get authorization for the Ministry of Public.
But the point,
I have that letter.
let me stop you in this thing. This thing is the dream of the government itself. You give legislature, you get legislative projects, you fund the project, so that means that you get them the right to do what they want to do.
But listen to me, it doesn't mean because if there's a legislative project, there is a national procedure by which that is done. There is a construction agency or ministry responsible to approve construction around the country. So because you're a lawmaker, you can send give you money, jump with build bridge. No, it doesn't work like that. So I wrote the legislature just to make sure. I even wrote a list. Liz is a power of government. I wrote Liz. Liz and myself, we having a conversation, and I wrote Liz. Liz were a little Adama. They were doing the same thing. Liz got money. They just do project where I probably were approving it. No, so I went to the PPCC. I wrote the PPCC. Now, no government agency or ministry will get approval from PPCC. Just a no objection for any construction work. PPCC and I, we agree on that. In fact, I told my lawyer for us to put it into an MOU between me and PPCC.
But I think the solution to this problem is that
so
don't
that
give them
means-
money to do
No.
projects.
In this case, it is a political party
So-
that wanted to build a bridge in.
Exactly, Jesus.
Banga.
So let me end on this. So I'm just saying, if I'm doing it within the executive, so that means anybody from outside government has to also understand that for you to want to do that, public will have to give you the authorization to do so. You cannot go and choose the site and go to the site and break ground without properly giving you authorization, knowing what a properly got anything planned to work down there because it's our authority. It's our authority. It's statutory. We decide who build what, where, and how, especially for bridges. And then you come back and say, we should give you authorization to build. When you go, you break your ground, you do whatever you want to do and say you're supposed to build a bridge because you're a political party. No, we don't give political party authorization to build bridge. Political parties shouldn't be building bridge. If you want to do that, we can find a way to work with you. And that's why I say in my letter, we listed what you need to do. Because it takes a lot to build.
Did they show you the blueprint?
I sent that to you. They sent to us a print that we feel it's not detailed.
They were trying to
all
find
out there.
you have.
Exactly. So we sent to them what they need to do. But what I said to them is that for the bridge they wanted to build in Mama, we already had a plan. We did an assessment on that bridge in March. I have the report. Can you share with you? It joins assessment, everything. Since March of this year, we did it. Because we know we need to.
So they started it.
Yes, there's two bridges, not just one. There's one. There's two bridges that I was supposed to be doing. Okay? We did it since March. But because we did not have the funding in this year, we will have in the 2026 budget to do that. So I informed them that, look, you can't do this. But however, in the future, if you want to do anything, these are the requirements. And we will work with you to even certify the company. Because you know why? Companies that build bridges, they're certified by Public Works. If you're not certified by us, if you're not in our database, we can't authorize you to build a bridge anywhere. So even the company that the political party will choose has to be certified by Public Works.
So
that's what I did.
Was it not possible? Let me just bring you this question.
I was being very professional with my job that I have to do, but they were trying to politicize it so that their business, I'm doing what I'm responsible to do as Minister of Public
So when
Works.
would you start building that bridge, that particular bridge?
Oh, this year.
Next year.
Yeah, so
This is
was it not possible?
He wants to do
Hold
it
on,
now.
sir. Let me just
Don't forget, like I said, it is not a political party responsibility to build bridge. It is the government responsibility. We can choose if we want to work with a party or anybody. Don't be political party. It could be an organization or even individual. We can choose how we work with you.
Now, so in this case, was it not possible for you to say, okay, since you have the resources and whatsoever to build this bridge, even though we have plans, we could move that other money to build something else, but we can assign our people make you do the right thing
Don't
to
forget,
build
it's a political party.
bridge.
The political party, that political party, so that political bridge building. The political party will choose a bridge they want to build somewhere that the field will get a vote for. Okay?
So that bridge
the
for
CMC can go the CMC
for
can go find another place that if you get more votes for to build a bridge, they come back to us. If they
But
meet the requirement,
you could also tell them again that you also have plans to build this bridge, and so you go somewhere else again.
Don't preempt that.
So let's move.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying simple. I'm just saying we did not deny the CMC. That's my letter. If you read my letter, it was very clear. The government had planned for that particular period, and I want there's two of another small one that was going to bring. There, I said that. But we gave you the requirement that if you want to do that next time, this is what you need to do. And we'll work with you and see whether you meet the requisite. Simple.
Okay, so let's get back to where we were before. You got a lot of stuff that you need to do. Let's start with this. Not because I live on that side, I live across the bridge, but it's a major road. They're from Freeport, from Liberia all the way to St. Paul's Bridge. It's a major highway. Will you put a time frame to that with those guys that have been doing it? Let's start with MDC starting from Freeport to St. Paul's Bridge. If you were to
if everything goes well, we are looking to see if we can end that project in 2 years.
In 2 years?
Yes, in 2 years. The St. Paul Bridge to Freeport. Because it's the budgetary thing. We are hoping that at least by next dry season, we are able to hit St. Paul Bridge. Just of the first layer, drainage system, everything in place, the overpass, and then of course the last layer, the second phase will just be to overlay that with the second layer, which will be the Warrior Coast. We hope that we can do that. That is that with that project.
Mm-hmm.
From St. Paul Bridge to Water Side and all that. Now, this is something the public wants to hear because there are a lot of perception about that. There are a lot of misunderstanding about this. But let me also say this, that over the last 20 years, all we've done in this country is to get money from the multilateral and the bilateral.
Mm-hmm.
That is the World Bank, the African Development Bank, to build our roads. These multilateral institutions, I don't want to say that they have bottlenecks, but of course there are a lot of preconditions for working with them to build roads. We learn to do that with them. We are happy to do that with them. But one of the things I also realized, there is this dry out in terms of the future development systems. Right now, you're not getting much money anywhere. There's a whole change in the whole global dynamics in terms of how countries are moving towards their own development. Again, America is a big donor of some of the multilateral institutions here and there. There been some pushback a little bit as to how that is done in terms of what defines us and all of that. So they're screening now on the resources and all of that. So since 2024, the first time I went to the spring meeting, I said to the World Bank, that, look, we need that to look at how private sector can step in to build our roads. There's a lot of money in the private sector, but to be able to contract this money, you need to have the guarantee that you repay. So money's there. The investor want to spend their money, but they want to be able to be sure of the repayment. So you're not able to access that. That's difficult. Besides that, the interest rate in the private sector will be a little higher than what you get from multilateral in terms of concessional loan. So we put in place an approach to look at PPP, public-private partnership. In fact, right now the cabinet is reviewing a framework to endorse that policy. That not only for roads, but even for energy, any other major infrastructure, we also look into the private sector for funding to complement what we are getting from our donor partners to build roads. So the government has done that. The RI road was supposed to be one of the model, but of course it did not end up like that. It ended up as the government 100% funded the road, okay, because of the guarantees that the government provided. So with that now, we decided to say, look, let's put this try as a PPP. This is a PPP. It was an unsolicited proposal from Pevifort, a company that is resident in Sierra Leone, building roads in Sierra Leone, in Guinea, and in the Gambia. They wrote the government of Liberia to say, look, we want to participate in the road sector. We can raise resources to invest in the road sector. How do we do that? We want to present a model. What we did, we authorized working with the president's office to give them what you call a non-binding MOU. Allow them to do 100% feasibility studies without the government paying for it. They honerated the cost to do the studies. And the studies cover certain corridors, up to 461 kilometers. When they did that studies, they came back to our review, we reduced it to 313. With that being reduced to 313, then we felt we needed to see if we could push it up to the Ministry of Finance, which issue what you call certificate, because you got to get a concession certificate. Finance is the one that ties us to any liability, this debt, and all of that. So they have to approve such a project. And since they had already spent money to do the studies, we said go ahead and issue the certificate to us. With that certificate, we went to the PPCC and presented the entire document to them based on the proposal from Pevifort to do this. And the model was that they would do a hybrid 40-60. They will bring 60% of the funding, the government will bring 40% of the funding. We'll also institute toll system on the corridor. So they had to do a full studies on the traffic counts.
If you put a toll system without the pivot job, how long would it take for them to get that money back?
Well, so the concession is for 24 years.
24 years.
Yes, 24 years. And in the 24 years, they will maintain the corridor throughout. They're supposed to do 2 overlays. After 10 years, they will overlay with a new layer. And after the next 10 years, they will overlay with another layer. But they will be responsible to maintain the corridor with a toll system in place. And that toll system will be used to recover some of the funding. So in the resources from the toll system, 75%, 15% will come to us to the road fund, and then 10% will be used for maintenance. Because they are bringing 280 million out of the project. The project is 263 million. I will break it down to tell you how it is. And then we're supposed to bring 145. But they're supposed to bring the funding first and start to do the work. The good thing about the project, there's no guarantee. The government is not providing any sovereign guarantee. They bring theirs, they work, complete the work, we certify that, we put our own money on the table. So there's a schedule as to how that payment is done. We're supposed to bring 10 million by next year. 2026, this will be 60 million, because the corridors are from St. Paul Bridge to Clay, from Clay to Tottenham, from Clay to Bowater side, from Minicoma to Foya to Vonjima, then Medina Rabasport. Now there's a confusion on Medina Rabasport. Medina Rabasport currently there's a contract for 12.5 kilometers of the 42.5 kilometers. That's been done by SSF. So the balance 30 kilometers is what is in this concession. So there were the conversation that, but Medina Rabasport already being done. How come it's in the concession? But that's how it is. It's just 30 kilometers that is there.
So that's 30 kilometers from where? Is it from Medina Angle?
No, it's from, because the road starts from Rabasto.
Okay.
SSS start from Rabasto to Camp. So
to
where
Medina.
SSS stop, where SSS stops from there to Medina is the private forest under the arrangement. So the total kilometer is 255. 255 kilometers. That's what it is. But that's what's going to happen. For Simple Bridge to Clay will be dual carriage, like what we're doing on the RI highway. There'll be medium, there'll be light. The same thing you see there. It's 38 kilometers. So because it's dual carriage, we double that. Because it's not single lane anymore. It's not just one kind of two going to come to vehicles. So that will be double. So the total kilometer in terms of cost of the project is 293 kilometers. Now, from Clay to Bowater side, when we were in the IMCC, because the president set an IMCC chaired by the National Investment Commission, Justice was there, Finance was there, Public Works, Transport. Yes, so those are the members of the IMCC. We deliberated this. They presented the case to the IMCC. What we did, we negotiated with them to say, look, from Clay to Bowater side, we want to continue with the 4 lane on the same arrangement. But yeah, what's going to happen? The road that goes to the border now, which is the Bamajida Highway, that we assess that road. That road is still okay, still solid. We just need to do small maintenance on it. So what we'll do?
But it's one carrier.
So so this is what we're doing. We're building a new lane, a new 2 lane closer to that. Okay. Then we'll scarvate this current lane, which means we'll do some work on it, and then overlay the entirety. So we continue with 4 lane for Simple Bridge all the way to Bowater side. That's what we're going to do.
I just wanted to say,
Valley, I beg you.
it is not.
I don't want this to go
Leave my mind.
What I'm talking about, all this imagination, if you will. Maybe I'm
But it's not imagination.
So flowery.
Maybe I'm clear on that. Let's look at this. All this enrichment we're talking about, border, Jen, on how long is it in my back? Because wait, don't jump. Because Liberia is of the history. Yeah, Liberia is of the history. That we do this thing when somebody comes, it's not my priority.
Yeah.
What will be done from now to 2029 when we go to elections? What percentage of the sort of work you're doing will be the company that will give you a success story? So, because my fear, if it goes beyond first term, the likelihood might not win, we voted around. If Jail wins tomorrow, does it look at the road? What would be the sort of how much can we cover from now to 2029?
So let me say, we have to move away from that attitude.
It has been the history of us.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. So we have to move away from that attitude. And I think we are moving away from that as this government. Okay, that attitude to say,
I
because you need the project, so you leave it. No. And yeah, people are claiming project, the project, our project, we started. That's your business. We physically go for the Liberian people.
You just saying though.
So that attitude
in an opposition.
No, that attitude. This is what I'm saying. That attitude is not what we did. And I always nobody says that when the Minister of Public gets on the radio, he does not reference the last government project. I will talk about the project from Bagleyville. That project initiated by the government. That will be paving the road to Sesta. We didn't initiate the project. They secured the first funding for it. And I always say that. I'm not the person who will come and say, "Oh no, this project." I don't spend my time doing that. The point I'm making is that the project is designed for 5 years. Let me say that. Now, if we are able to live up to our commitment, I own a bargain in terms of the funding for the project, and they're able to live up to the commitment in terms of payment on the project can get completed in 5 years. In terms of construction is for 5 years, and it starts as of next year. So up to 2030, it should be complete. If we pay, and they bring the money as required. So there's a whole process to look at this. That's why now we're at the legislature for, of course, public hearing, and we hope that the legislature can, especially the Senate, can finally pass on it. The contractors, the company is ready to mobilize like today. Let me say that to you, Tima. Once we get a ratification, the company will be on that corridor to start to work. We have to live up to the commitment that we did, and the government is committed to that. There will be funding set aside purposely to begin the project and to make sure the project can end up. Besides that, when the first section is done between Monrovia to Clay, we're going to install the toll system. So while the project is being constructed, we start to generate resources from the toll to be reinvested into the project based on what the model is.
Moreover, to play with me after,
Minister,
after,
the
after,
criticism.
2030, right?
No. It should be done within
The-
the maximum 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
This particular, just before we take break, Max,
Mhm.
this particular Pavifor concession, the criticism towards that concession is not how flowery, how beautiful, they presented their plan or the road project. It is credibility of that particular company, the integrity of that company. What have they done? What can we judge them by?
Well, again, let me say this.
What is our performance?
Let me say this.
Performance
Let me say
record.
we had a team
And
that left to
why
do-
was
to do
they
due
single?
diligence. I'm coming. We have a team that left to do due diligence, okay, on the project. Look, our team, led by the Deputy Minister for Technical Services, went to Sierra Leone, saw the projects they're doing. We have a whole report that I can share that report with all of you to read
Please do.
and see pictures of the projects they've done. They went to Guinea. They're doing work in Guinea now. In fact, it's some of the repayment on the work they're doing in Guinea. They are now recovering up to 80 million in bonds for work that is done in Guinea. And that money will be some of the money they're going to reinvest in the project. They also work in Gambia. So our team went to Gambia to see the work. They're doing work there that's financed by the Saudis Fund and Badia, the Arab Bank for Economic Development, funded by them. We did our due diligence. As far as we know, the company has the technical capacity. The Ministry of Finance was on the IMCC. They did the due diligence on the financial. Look at the financial they submitted, the source of funding for the project. They said they do some recapitalization. They also get funding to name the UBA Nigeria, the Afri-SM Bank, which is funding the RIA project as one of the funder. And also, resources are coming from projects that they have. So our due diligence has certified that this company has capacity. Now,
Should we go there and verify?
I know there will be.
We should.
We should go
Yeah,
there.
but
and verify ourselves. Because we don't want the public works ministry to talk for them.
In fact,
We don't want you to talk for
in
them.
fact, listen to this. We wanted the Senate. The Senate said they want to go and do due diligence. The Senate go ahead and do the same. We did ours because it is our reputation we put in the line. If that project failed today, Giddings was not a good minister of public works. Tamba was not a good deputy minister of technical services. My entire team is our reputation we put in the line. So if we said we believe this project is going to make the impact that we are looking for, we've taken the risk and we've done that. Now it's left for you to go and do your due diligence. It's left for you to get the information you get about the company, however you see it. Go ahead and do so. But the project will be a successful project. And let me see.
There are concerns about their financial capacity as well. People have raised those claims. There have been allegations of corruption in works that they did in Sierra Leone. I guess you've seen all of those reports coming.
I don't know where it came from. Okay, maybe it'll be on the internet. Maybe somebody sent it to say there. In our due diligence, what they presented to us at the IMCC has certified that this company has the capacity to do the work. Now, we are the government, and I want the public to accept the decision that we made. Give us the chance to execute this project. If this project cannot get executed, there'll be a problem with the project, then you come back to us and say, we told you. But I think the president and the executive believe that this project can be executed, and the project will be executed. Somebody talk about the cost of the project. The cost of the project is within the range. Right now, we do about 850,000 per kilometer to $1 million. This project for whole 25 years, our BPO is anywhere around $1,168,000 per kilometer, which in my mind is very reasonable. The construction cost is 313, but there are other associated costs that took it up to 363. We're going to do RAP. We're going to pay about $5 million for property along that corridor, which is part of the project cost, and not just that corridor, but in the Vonjima corridor also, we'll also be paying for RAP. There's going to be a supervision. We are hiring an independent firm to represent us as owner engineer on the project that will supervise the project on our behalf, working with Popular Works. Over the life of the project, the 5 years, that's going to cost us about $3 million. We also got a contingency in there, about $30 million. Now, what the contingency will be used for? We felt, you see the Beaumont Bridge, not the Beaumont Bridge, but the overpass by Virginia. That bridge, that whole thing, we got to take it down. Because if we're doing a dual lane to go to Zimbabwe, you can't keep it there. You got to take it down.
But that would be the same
Then-
engineering where strong
then-
we go to with
Then
Beaumont
also,
Bridge.
no, Bombay is better. Bombay is better in terms of length. Then also to Hotel Africa, our intent is to intervene on that corridor going to Hotel Africa. There's a bridge that was broken down.
Mhm.
You know, that's
They've been there for
result of the
years.
war. Then there's interest in Hotel Africa. I know you all may have seen me in the Hotel Africa corridor. We're going to clear that Hotel Africa. We're going to clear it, hopefully by February. People who took land by themselves and thought that they own land, they just built, we have to clear it. There's people who want to invest. You have 392 acres down there that people, investors need land to do something serious. The Hotel Africa is an outcome. That building has to be maintained. I mean, the oil, 1979. Just think about that. And today it look like that. So we're going to do that. So the roads will be done. That whole roundabout will be redesigned. And that takes the project to where it is. Okay. So we're definitely going to execute that project. I can tell you that project will be successful. I listen to all the propaganda and all the, all the things about it and all the. But we saw the best.
Don't call it propaganda. The concern.
No, the concern is one thing. I know people raise legitimate concern. There's also propaganda too.